And I had said to Aaron when we started, everybody's getting up here and they have these wonderful titles. I don't have a title, but this is your cue, Aaron. We'll make it work. The title is, My Son Will Kill Me If He Knows I Used a Selfie of Us as part of a slide deck, okay? So if you meet him, be like, oh my gosh, nice to meet you. You have never seen this child before in your life. So, one of the things that I have to just sort of name is that, when people ask you, do something, hey, can you get up in front of a room full of strangers and talk about yourself and your journey? And at first I was like, yes, and then I was like, ooh, no, why did I say I was gonna do that? I talk to people through my work every single day, even in my consulting work. I talk to rooms full of people every single day. And then it dawned on me, talking about myself is something I don't do often. And why? Because our stories actually have been used against us, right? If I show that I am vulnerable, that means I'm less than, I am weak. You take what you know then about me and use it against me. So I need to just sort of name that as a result of this process, I have really appreciated the fact that all of our interactions as a committee and just thinking deeply about what we hope to get out of this series has been centered around the heart and really getting to know each other on a more personal basis in terms of our why. So my story is really about my journey in motherhood and what that means in terms of how it informed my work with what I do in early learning. So without being too emotional, that child up there was the beginning of my journey, October 28th, 1994. Okay. 7 pounds, 11 and a half, 7 pounds, 11 inches, good God, 11 ounces, 21 and a half inches long. He's mine, I know. But it was a scary time for me, and Lily's story at the beginning resonated because I was 19, just turning 20. And I thought, my God, I'm still trying to figure out what life means to me, and now I'm responsible for someone else's life. That's deep. On top of which my parents had scrimped and saved to put me through college, and I had to call home and say, I'm gonna be somebody's mama. I was gonna be in trouble. What did that mean? And so Taylor comes into my life, that's his name, Taylor. And I'm like, okay, well, nobody gave me a handbook, but I'm just gonna roll with it and I'm gonna figure it out. And I would say for the most part, it's been steady, but for many of you, either through your personal experiences or even maybe hearing your parents talk about their experiences raising you, there were many moments where I felt like I was invisible, where I was self-conscious about going into a school because I assumed you would already make judgments about me and my life and what I did and how in the world did this young girl end up with this child. And it's hard. And literally at times I felt like, well, maybe systems are just telling me that I'm just supposed to sit down, right? I'm supposed to throw my hands up in defeat and just say, well, whatever's gonna be is what's gonna be. But I made a conscious choice because I said, you know what, to give up is not an option. And so even when I am scared as hell to walk in a school, to meet a teacher, to go to a conference, to sit at a PTA meeting with women that I have absolutely nothing in common with, talking about the next Scholastic book sale or whatever it is, you're gonna know me and you're gonna know my face, you're gonna know my family, and you're gonna know that I have the same values, dreams, wishes, hopes, and everything for mine the same way you have for yours. Thank you. And so I held on to that. And at times, my child resented me, like, why you always gotta be at the school and volunteering and embarrassing me? And people like, that's Taylor's mom. I'm like, guess what? That's how we roll. Because if I don't, they make up your story. They make our stories up. And I was hell-bent that no one was going to make up a story. So based on that personal experience, based on those journeys, based on just having to find my voice, and like I said, even at times being scared as hell, once I got back in school, because I should say from the time that he was born and then having to take time off to work and get my stuff together, it actually took me from high school up until the time I graduated. It took me 9 years to finish college. Ooh, it was long. I mean, periods of going off and on, and you gotta do what you gotta do. But I had said, based on my own personal experiences as a parent, I have got to make it my duty to open doors for others. So early learning was a natural call for me. Because like I said at the very beginning, I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. And I thought, well, my goodness, I'm surely not the only one. Even the most well-resourced parent is scared. I mean, they bombard you with information, right? Read to the baby, talk to the baby, play with the baby, socialize the baby, right? Also, I mean, people just bombard you with all sorts of information, but at very limited opportunities do we actually center voices and say, actually, tell me what's important to you for your baby. So I held on to those things that just really I felt were important to me, and that actually helps fuel my work, because I tell people it is an honor to be able to go into preschools or work in communities, and there's not a day that doesn't go by that I express my gratitude for community for allowing me to be in those spaces, to allow me to hear stories. And for every table that I'm at, it's not my job to share stories, it's actually my job to ask, where are 3 more chairs so that we can invite families in to share their own? So I started thinking about what justice means for me. And both wearing, my hat as a mother, wearing my hat as a provider. And so I made a list. So the first thing, what justice means for me is that when our children start school, they see themselves as the wonderful beings that we know that they are from the moment they interact with that family support worker, that teacher, that nurse, whoever. Love is felt. And for those of you that have been in a school where you know love is not being felt, you can feel it, right? It's like in the air, cold, sterile environment. So what justice means for me is when children feel loved and valued from the very first moment they step in an educational system's door. What justice means for me is that providers or practitioners, teachers, however, whatever box you want to put them in, genuinely care about connecting with our children when it's not associated with a grant or some sort of special initiative. They don't see our children as target audiences, okay? Justice for me means you inherently care because your job's not tied to it. You're there because you're clear on your why. Justice for me also means I no longer have to look at children like Taylor as part of data slides that talk to me about all the disparities. And instead we become bombarded with opportunities where we hear about the wonderful strengths and the absolute brilliance of our children. And finally, justice for me means when this is no longer just a one-off and this becomes our norm. When we create spaces where we hear all of our stories. I am probably no different than many of you out here. And so let's keep talking, let's keep collaborating, and let's challenge systems. Let's challenge systems to say, you know what? There's no reason children should be bounced from place to place, out of school to school. Grab that child like you would grab your own. Thank you.